Right. Welcome to the introduction about the Community Review Project. My name's Catherine Armstrong and I've got my colleague Kate Burrow here as well. We are two of the senior community officers with the Community Council for Somerset, and this recording is going to run you through a little bit about CCS, and then we'll move on to the project that we're here to talk about, which is the Community Review Project, a little bit about the process, the benefits, the outcome, and what the offer is for yourselves. So a little bit about CCS if you don't know anything about us. We were established back in 1926, and throughout our time we've been working to support people who live and work across Somerset. And we have a whole range of projects and currently have projects around village and community agents, Somerset Diverse Communities, our Community Buildings Advisory Service, and our Community Consultation and Review Project, and the funding support element as well. So first of all, I'm just going to give you a very brief description of what the offer is for this particular project. This is the second phase of the Community Review Project, which is a funded project by Somerset Council, and we are delivering it on behalf of Somerset Association of Local Councils. It's a 12-month project, so your community reviews will be completed by the autumn of 2024.
So I'm going to talk a little bit now about what is a community review. At its heart, it's a document which has been prepared by the community to capture their needs and desires, the characteristics of where you live, and the opinions of your community's residents. You might also know it as a community plan or a town or parish plan. But the result is the same. It translates a piece of public consultation, of community-led consultation, into an action plan for you as a parish to act on and deliver.
So the process that this project would go through is a very clearly defined process, and by following the steps, you'll complete the community review within the 12-month period. So the first really important step is for you to establish a steering group made up of key players and interested residents, with a split of some town or parish councillors as well as other residents. And the steering group will help inform what the hot topics are in your community, which we'll come on to in a minute, and what local themes there are, and ensure wider community engagement. But at its heart, the community consultation is based around an online survey, which we will help you create using a bank of questions, tried and tested questions, and those hot topics that you identify in your community. There will also be opportunity for on the ground community consultation to feed into that online community consultation. So it's really about identifying people who you want to consult with and signposting them to the online survey, making sure that you get really good representation from across your community. And the process, once you've done the consultation, the results will be analysed and written into a report. An action plan will be drafted alongside the steering group with priorities identified by yourselves, and a funding plan will be produced, and then it'll be time to implement the plan and the actions and monitor and review the plan moving forwards.
So Catherine's mentioned the topics in the survey. We've created here a list of a dozen or so themes or topics. I won't run through them all here, but they all pertain to community life, community facilities in some way. And we would suggest that you choose perhaps between 6 or 8 of these topics to ask questions on. And as Catherine has said, behind every topic we have a question bank of tried and tested questions that we will work with you to finesse and make bespoke to your parish and their needs. There may also be topics which are very individual to your community. You might want to ask something, a few questions around something like an active travel route. And again, we would work with you to create that theme questions, and make sure you're asking the right questions to get the best possible, the strongest, most robust answers out of. So a little bit more about the ways that we would work with you to engage your community residents. In a lot of the parishes which undertook the community review over the last 12 months, chose to offer an incentive as part of the survey. So anyone who entered the survey over 18 was entered into a prize draw, and the parish council offered perhaps a voucher for the local pub or a community shop, just to encourage more people to take part. We'll also work with you to identify events that you might want to put on to promote the community consultation. Some parishes have chosen to stage an event at the start of the process, perhaps to find out more about what topics are important to their community. Others have chosen to put on an event at the end of the process to launch the findings of the survey and to ask the community to ask further about how they want to prioritise the findings of the survey. We also will work with you on a range of marketing tools, so with templates for leaflets and posters, and give you QR codes so you can get your message out there as widely as possible. There might be opportunities for you to pop up about the community consultation, perhaps at existing events, at Easter fairs, Christmas fairs, or go out to existing groups who are already meeting, WI, the church, youth clubs, and take the survey out to them. So we'll work with you across your existing communications, your social media and website. We'll also work with you to ensure that your councillors are engaged in the process, and for the larger parishes as well, for that officer engagement. But really it's about making the most of everyone's contacts. So again, it feeds back to having that breadth of involvement in the steering group phase as well, to make sure that you're reaching the widest possible sector of your community.
So in terms of the outcome, if you follow the process, what will you get? You'll get a community review, which is an evidence-based plan, which basically summarises what your community have said in answer to the questions that you've asked. You'll also get an action plan, which will be based on those findings, and it will be needs-based, so it will highlight where there are needs and things that need to happen in order for things to improve or to make changes. And so that's a living document, because that will you'll set out your actions and how you hope to achieve them, but obviously things change and you'll need to add and adapt to that as it moves forwards. And based on your action plan, we'll create a funding plan. So we'll identify potential funders who might be able to help you achieve some of the actions and help you with the way forwards. So you'll have three things. The whole process is a process, and it's not meant to be a static thing that at the end of 12 months, that's it, done and dusted. It's supposed to then help you inform the future. And so it's not meant to be a document that sits on a shelf and gathers dust. It's meant to help you then move forwards to be able to achieve some of those actions, bring in additional funding where needed, and make your community the best possible place it can be.
So just taking that a step further, the benefits to your community, it's about, as we've said before, engaging the widest possible sections of your community, perhaps people who wouldn't normally take part in community-led consultation, but engaging them in community ideas and activities. It will give you evidence for funding applications. The data of the survey will show you how many people support certain actions, or demonstrate a tangible need for services and facilities. It will give you evidence for partners within the LCN, amongst others, and it will help influence wider political conversations. It will help you with budget setting and give you a springboard to action, and really see change happen in your community. And of course, the key benefit is that we're offering this as a free package of support through the funded support, through the funding of this project.
So moving on to what you get in terms of that support. So we as CCS will allocate you, if you're successful in your application, with a named advisor, so you've got a point of contact, but you'll also have access to our wider team of expert support, which includes research specialism and marketing support and advice, as well as the community development side of things. And we'll undertake one-to-one support with you to ensure that your specific issues are included within the process so that your community review reflects your community. And we'll provide regular training and support through each step of the process. As we've talked about, it's a stepped process and it's tried and tested. And by following those steps, you'll be able to achieve your community review within the time frame. And we'll support you by attending a community consultation event, and we can discuss that when that might be best for your particular community. We'll work with you to create the survey and input that into the online Survey Monkeys, what we use, and it's using our tried and tested question banks and also developing good bespoke questions as required on your specific hot topics as needed. And we'll make sure that you engage with as wider reach within your community as possible, both geographically as well as interest groups. We'll provide marketing material and marketing support so that you can promote your plan widely. We will undertake the analysis of the responses to the online survey and write the community review document based on those responses. We will support you in creating the action plan, which is based on the findings. And then we will make recommendations for funding for projects that emerge within that action plan. And as I said, we will provide you with information sheets, advice sheets, and a toolkit to help you go through that process, that step-by-step process. So what will you need to do? So you need to decide if you want to go ahead and submit an application for an expression of interest by the 30th of November. Now, by submitting an expression of interest, it's not binding and it's not guaranteed. It is a competitive process depending on how many councils apply. And what we'd say to you is if you have an interest, submit the application, submit the expression of interest through the link that will have been sent in the email attached with this recording. And if you decide it's not for you when we come back to you, then that's fine. We can have those conversations, but it's better to submit it now than to miss out on the opportunity, because this will be the last opportunity you have for this particular funding. If you are successful and you decide to go ahead, you'll need to commit to the process by signing an agreement and agree a workable timetable with us. So it works on both sides. We know that we can give you the support in the time frame, and that it's going to work with events and activities that you've got going on in your community. You'll need to identify and recruit people to your community plan steering group. We've highlighted the importance of that earlier on. And you'll need to provide us with a main point of contact, a project lead, so that communication is easy. You'll need to undertake regular training sessions through, as in the step-by-step process. There will be training sessions that take you on to the next section of what you need to achieve, and you need to engage in consulting with your community. So in terms of any costs to you, they're fairly minimal, but you will need to cover any printing costs, whether that's printing of surveys or posters or that sort of thing, any postage costs that you might encounter, any event costs if you're putting on specific events rather than tagging on to an existing event, any venue hire or incentive costs. But the parishes that have been through this in the first phase in the last 12 months, it's really not amounted more than a couple of £100 really, depending on how you go about it. You need to agree to encourage and oversee the actions that arise from the community plan. So really, that's about this being the start of the process, and that the actions and what happens as a result of the information that you receive, you need to agree to push those forwards, not necessarily lead on them, but definitely oversee them and push them forwards. And the whole process needs to be complete by the end of autumn 2024. So you need to complete it in that time frame. So a community that's recently completed theirs, Naroche, sent us this message, how the process that we've talked about works and how it's benefited them in terms, not just internally within the parish, but also in terms of working with partners. And I think that quote speaks for itself really, and shows the benefits, and for what is a very small community of Naroche, how beneficial they found it, which is useful. If you're interested and you want further information, please do get in touch. Here's my email address, and I can talk you through any areas that aren't clear or answer any questions that you might have. So please do email me and I'll be able to come back to you with any answers. So very much look forward to receiving your expression of interest and being in touch in December as to whether you've been a successful council in the phase 2 of this exciting project. Thank you very much.